Good morning, yes. Welcome all to Eng-lane English classroom. In the last session, we discussed the lesson Adventures in a Banyan tree. Now, we are going to proceed the story, continue the story. Yes, you remember the first part of the story, don't you? Okay, who is the protagonist of that story? That's a boy. You remember? Where did he live then? He lived in Dehra, which is a town in a valley at the foothills of Himalaya. Remember all these things. Who were there with him? His grandpa was there, his grandma was there. Grandpa was 65 years old. You remember? How did he enjoy his life there? There was a banyan tree, an old grand banyan tree. He used to go there and he spent his leisure time in harmony with nature. Who was his first friend? That was a little grey squirrel, you remember. How they become friends? At first the squirrel didn't like his presence, but you remember when it learned that he had no catapult or an angle, he came closer and he started giving it piece of cake and biscuit. Thus they become very friendly and the squirrel began to take things from his pockets itself. Now, very good, you know all these things. Now, let me ask some more questions, right? Shall we move on to the next part? For that, some questions you listen. Who were the other visitors there? What were his other activities? What were the activities the boy did on the banyan tree? Okay, let us see. Let us have a look at the picture. See, this is a picture, nice picture. You can see that boy. Where is he sitting now? And what is he doing? What else can you see there? Where's the boy sitting? He's watching something, isn't he? What may be the sights from there? Whether the other visitors are seen there? Okay, we can know all these things. Let us read the next part of the story. Okay? You don't forget to read with me. In the spring, when the banyan tree was full of small figs, birds of all kinds would flock into its branches. The red-bottomed bulbul, cheerful and greedy, gossiping rosy pastures, and parrots and crows squabbling with each other all the time. During the fig season, the banyan tree was the noisiest place on the road. Halfway up the tree, I had built a small platform on which I would often spend the afternoons when it wasn't too hot. I could read there, propping myself up against the bole of the tree with the cushions taken from the drawing room. Treasure Island, Huckleberry Finn, the Mowgli stories, and the novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs and Louisa May Alcott made up my bag, very mixed reading. When I did not feel like reading, I could look down through the banyan leaves at the world below, at grandmother hanging up or taking down the washing, at the cook quarreling with the fruit vendor, or at grandfather grumbling at the hardy Indian marigolds which insisted on springing up all over his very English garden. Usually nothing very exciting happened while I was in the banyan tree, but on one particular afternoon I had enough excitement to last me through the summer. That was the time I saw a mongoose and a cobra fight to death in the garden, while I sat directly above them in the banyan tree. It was an April afternoon, and the warm breezes of approaching summer had sent everyone, including grandfather, indoors. I was feeling drowsy myself and was wondering if I should go to the pond behind the house for a swim when I saw a huge black cobra gliding out of a clump of cactus and making for some cooler part of the garden. At the same time, a mongoose whom I had often seen emerged from the bushes and went straight for cobra. In a clearing beneath the tree, in bright sunshine, they came face to face. Cobra knew only too well that the grey mongoose, 3 feet long, was a superb fighter, clever and aggressive. But the cobra was skillful and experienced fighter too. He could move swiftly and strike with the speed of light, and the sacs behind his long, sharp fangs were full of deadly venom. It was to be a battle of champions. Okay, you have read. Now, you have got the answers for the questions that we have raised first. Let us see it. Where is the boy sitting? He is sitting on a platform in the banyan tree, which he made in the banyan tree. You can see the cushions there. He is watching something, isn't he? What do you feel? Do you feel like that? Yeah, he is watching the sights below the banyan tree, which is in the garden. What may be the sights from there? There are some birds and some creatures just like the mongoose and snake is there. Okay, whether the other visitors are seeing the, who are they? Any other visitors? Some birds are there, and see. In the beginning, we mentioned some more visitors, but they are not seeing there. They are birds. Okay, I think you got all the things, and there is a reference about a fight. Who are fighting there? Mongoose and the cobra. Now, let us know more about the story. Listen, he says, I had enough excitement to last me through the summer. The boy says so. What was that? Do you have any idea? And how did it happen? When did it happen? Okay, we have to know that. So we have to read silently and we have to comprehend more that story. You don't forget to note the important words that can be entered to your own dictionary. Okay, please read silently. Okay, you got enough time and you have got the answers too, right? Now, let us move on and let us see what's there in that part of the story. Okay? Listen, in the spring, what season is mentioned there? That is spring. And what is special with the banyan tree in spring? There were full of red figs, small and fixed, then who would come there? There would come all types of birds. Which were the birds mentioned here? Red-bottomed bulbul is there, and then gossiping rosy patches are there, and again parrots and crows. How did they make the banyan tree the noisiest place on the bush? They quarreled each other, they scrambled, they chattered, they chirped. Thus it became the noisiest place on the road. Okay, again, where did he build a small platform? Half up the tree, halfway up the tree. And what did he do there? He would spend the afternoons there. When did he go there? When it was not so hot. How did he spend time there? He would read books, and he would watch the things below or watch the activities below the tree. Can you name some of the books that he read? Certainly, that is Treasure Island, Huckleberry Finn, Mowgli's Stories, and the novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs and Louisa May Alcott. Now, when he didn't feel like reading, what did he do? He simply watched down or looked down and see the things, activities there. What are some of the activities? Grandmother was hanging or taking down the washing clothes or washed clothes or dried clothes. The cook was quarreling with the fruit vendor, and grandfather would grumble at hardy Indian marigolds which spread all over his very English garden. And usually, were there any exciting incidents? No. But one afternoon, he had one thing to excite him that gave him enough excitement. What was that? A mongoose and cobra fought to death in the garden when he was sitting just directly above them in the banyan tree. When did it happen? An April afternoon. Then it was warm. It was indicating the approaching summer. The summer was coming near, and everyone were indoors. Everyone was indoors, including grandfather. And he too. What was the boy's feeling? He was drowsy, and he wanted to go for a swim in the pond. At that moment, he saw a great sight. What was that? That was a huge cobra moving smoothly out of the clump of the cactus. It wanted to get some cooler part of the garden. And who else came there? A mongoose too. A mongoose came there, and that went towards that cobra. And where did they come face to face? In the clearing beneath the tree, they came face to face. And what did cobra think of mongoose? Cobra knew that the mongoose was a superb fighter, clever and aggressive. And cobra was not poor in fighting. Okay, it was also skillful and experienced fighter. He could move swiftly, very fast, strike with the speed of light, and the sacs behind his long sharp fangs were full of deadly venom. Okay, and what type of a battle was that? That was a battle of champions. Now, dears, let us try to answer the scaffolding questions. How was the banyan tree the noisiest place during the fixed season? You know that it is clearly we have mentioned that all types of Birds flocked together there and they made a noise, gobbling, chirping, and chattering. How did the boy make the spring season exciting for himself? He made a platform and on in the banyan tree and sat there, and he would go there and read books. And when he was not when he didn't feel like reading, he observed, he watched the others' activities below the tree in the garden. And what was the incident that triggered a long lasting excitement for the boy in summer? That was the fight between a cobra and the mongoose till death. How did the cobra regard his opponent? Cobra knew that he was a superb fighter, very clever and aggressive. And they were very true warriors because snake was too very skillful, and it could strike in the speed of lightning, and it had a very strong venom or poison with it or with him. Okay, yes. Now we are going to see the story in detail. I think when you read silently, you have noted some of the words. Let us get introduced with them. We have to introduce these in sentences, but it will become very longer. That's why let us directly see the meaning of the words. Flock, to crowd. Cheerful, noticeably happy and optimistic. Greedy means having greed, prone to overeat, gluttonous. Gossiping, chattering and chirping. I have to write down these things. Squabble means a minor fight or argument. Prop up means to support with. Bole means the trunk or stem of a tree. Cushion, a soft mass of material stuffed in a cloth bag used for comfort, for support or for sitting on. Now see some of the images. This is spring. Spring is the most beautiful season. In spring nature becomes the most beautiful. And see, this is rosy pasture. It is very noisy. Pastors, they are talkative, and just like that they always chatter and chirp. This is bulbul, that's a songbird. This is fig, you see it. Look at this, these are figs, a soft fruit. And see, these are some of the books and the authors. Tarzan's is a very nice and interesting story. This is written by Edgar Rice Burroughs. He read the novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs, and this, Mowgli, very familiar character. And this is Treasure Island, written by Robert Louis Stevenson, and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, that is written by Mark Twain, that. And this is Louisa May Alcott. This is one of her writings, that is Good Wives. I think you got from there some of these authors and books. Okay, now these are questions, this, and this one is the board. The main part of a tree can be called stem of a tree can be called board. I think all these are very clear. Now let us revisit that paragraph again. In the spring, when banyan tree was full of small red figs. It is very simple, you might have understood that. In spring, there were many small red figs, red fruits on the banyan tree. And at that time, all kinds of birds would flock, come together into its branches. Red bottom bulbul was there, a songbird was there. Its bottom was red in color. It was and cheerful and very cheerful, very. We have learned that noticeably happy and pleasant. Greedy means to not satisfied with what one has and want to get more and more, especially to eat. and gossiping is learned that is chattering or chirping rosy pastures. When parrots were there, crows were there, they squabbled, they quarreled. A noisy quarrel was there with among them and with each other all the time. And during this season, banyan tree was the noisiest place on the road. I think you got what is that in paragraph? In spring, banyan tree was full of small red figs or red fruits. At that time, all types of birds flocked together or crowded there on its branches, and some of the birds were bulbul was there, rosy pastures was there, and rosy pastures were there, parrots were there, and crows were there. They quarrelled, they had noisy quarrel among them, and that made the banyan tree the noisiest one. I think you got what is there. And again, next paragraph. Halfway up the tree, I had built a small platform on which I would often spend the afternoons when it was not too hot. I think you got it. Halfway up the tree, about half when one could reach the halfway of that tree, there he built a small platform, a place to sit, on which there he spent his afternoons when it was not hot. If it is hot, no one can go out, or no one could go out, right? And how did he spend the time there? That is, he read the books, propping up, that is, supporting himself against the wall with the cushions. And I think we know wall means the main stem of the tree. Cushions we have seen they help you to sit or to lay comfortably, taken from the drawing room, office room. Which were some of the novels? Treasure Island, Huckleberry Finn, the Mowgli stories, the novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs, and Louisa May Alcott. This made the bag of very mixed reading. There can be, you can get the right answer for this question. How would or how did his bag become a bag of or one of a very mixed reading? There were all types of books with him. Okay, I think it is very clear. And next one. Next, when I did not feel like reading, I could look down through the banyan leaves at the word below. Let us see the words first. Word mean first. Feel like means to have a desire to do something. Vendor means seller. Grumble means to complain or mutter with discontent. Hardy means strong, that can withstand the extremes of climate, fog or wind like that. Insist on, demand continually that something be done. Spring up, to appear suddenly. Exciting, that is creating excitement, a state of being emotionally aroused. Particular, specific or special. Last means to continue or exist. Now see, this is marigold flower, a plant with bright yellow or orange flowers. This is English garden. An example for one more for English garden. English garden is that is a distinct style of landscaping or garden making. English garden usually includes a lake, lawns, groves of trees, beautiful architectural constructions, small bridges to recreate idyllic pastoral landscape. You can see that, and again we can move on to the paragraph. Now it will be very easy to comprehend. When I did not feel like reading, when he was not interested in reading, he could look down through the banyan leaves. He could watch the world below through the banyan leaves. What were the sights that he saw then? Grandmother hanging or taking down the washed clothes. The cook quarreled with fruit vendor, fruit seller. Grandfather grumbled, complained, muttered at the hardy, very strong Indian marigold that flower, that plants, which insisted on, which spread on all over his very English garden. He didn't like it. Usually, at that time, there were no any exciting incidents there in the banyan tree. But one special day afternoon, he had a very wonderful thing, or he got a high excitement to last there, to be there with him throughout the summer. What was that? That was a mongoose and cobra fought to death in the garden when he was sitting directly above them in the banyan tree. I think got all these things, and now the last, what was the fight, the beginning of that fight or the preparation for the fight is there. Before that we can see the, this is a mongoose and cobra. Mongoose and cobra, see how fierce it is, how aggressive it is, Now this is the mongoose. Have a close watch, its tail, bushy tail, and very clever and aggressive fighter. This is cobra, you see, very skillful, which can strike with his enemy in a lightning speed. And the words you see: warm, mildly hot, breeze, gentle wind, rosy, heavy with sleepy or sleepiness or sleeping, pond, a pool or water reservoir, natural or man-made, huge, very large, glide, to move smoothly, clump, a bunch, கூட்டம், make for, move towards, emerge, to come out, beneath, below, superb, excellent, aggressive, vigorous and quarrelsome, അക്രമ സ്വഭാവമുള്ള, venom, poison, battle, fight. Now you see, this is the cactus. You see, this is the cactus, this is the clump of cactus. This is a clearing, this part is a clear, an open space in a garden or in the woods can be called. This is, these are the bushes, bushes. This is the forked term, and these are the fans, and there is the sack behind that. Okay, I think you got all these things, and let us move on to that paragraph again. It was an April afternoon. The time was April afternoon. The warm breezes, there was a bit hot breezes were gentle air was there. That herald or that tells us about the approaching or the summer was coming near. So since it was hot, everyone was indoors. Grandfather, including grandfather, was indoors, and the boy was too sleepy, and he wanted to go to the pond behind the house and swim for a refreshment. But at that time he saw a huge, very big, very large black cobra moving smoothly out of the clump of the cactus. You have seen all those things, and moving towards some cooler part of the garden, because it was very hot. They wanted to get a cooler part, and at the same time a mongoose, he would often see that mongoose there. It came out from the bushes and went straight for the cobra. In a clearing, we learned that clearing means open space in that garden, beneath, below, the tree. In bright sunshine they came face to face. They were ready to an encounter. Cobra knew only too well that the mongoose was 3 feet long. The mongoose was 3 feet long and was a superb, excellent fighter. It was clever and aggressive. You know that, vigorous and quarrelsome. But Cobra was skillful and experienced fighter. That was too a warrior, and he could move swiftly with great speed and strike with the speed of lightning. It can strike the enemy. The bags behind his long sharp teeth were full of deadly venom, poison. Okay, I think you got it. Very nice description of those opponents are there. So it was a fight between two warriors, champions, right? Okay, yes, I think you got all the things. The story is very simple and very interesting. Okay, how will be the fight? We can see it in the next class. How do they prepare for it? Now, what are the main ideas? Birds of all kinds visited the tree during the fig season and made it the noisiest place on the road. He built the platform halfway up the tree and he read his favorite stories there. He used to watch the activities of others from the tree. The boy's most exciting experience was the sight of an encounter between a mongoose and a cobra. He was sitting on a banyan tree and a full-grown cobra crawled into the garden below the tree. A mongoose came across. These are the main ideas. Nowadays, let us move on to the activity 3. Watching the nature around us is all really interesting. No doubt, you know that. Each and every living being has its own characteristics. The boy in the story narrates certain features of a few animals, lists them out. He narrates the features of the squirrel, the snake, and the mongoose. It is there in our passages. So one is done here. The squirrel was very young. It was small and grey in color. Finding the boy not harmful, it became very friendly with him. It trusted the boy and even took food from his hand. You know, this is a description on squirrel. Now you have to write such a small paragraphs in lines on lines about the snake and mongoose. You remember the snake? What was special with the feature of what was its size, what was its color, what did it have, and how did it attack its enemy? And what about the speed of his striking? All these things should be written. You can try it. The answers given in the notes along with it. You can do it yourself. Mongoose also, how was it and how long was that and what was his qualities, the things, and what about its tail, and all these things are there in the passage. You can do it yourself. After writing, you can see the answer in it. Okay. Now watch this. Yesterday we watched something. Now we are going to watch the reminder.
cheerful and greedy. Parrots, myna, and crows squabbling with one another. During the fig season, the banyan tree was the noisiest place in the garden. Halfway up the tree, I had built a crude platform where I would spend the afternoon when it was not too hot. I could read there, propping myself up against the tree with a cushion from the living room. Treasure Island, Huckleberry Finn, and the story of Dr. Dolittle were some of the books that made up my banyan tree library. When I did not feel like reading, I could look down through the leaves of the world below. And on one particular afternoon, I had a grandstand view of that classic of the Indian wild, a fight between a mongoose and a cobra. The warm breezes of approaching summer had sent everyone, including the gardener, into the house. I was feeling drowsy myself, wondering if I should go to the pond and have a swim with Ramu and the buffaloes, when I saw a huge black cobra gliding out of a clump of cactus. At the same time, a mongoose emerged from the bushes and went straight for the cobra. In a clearing beneath the banyan tree, in bright sunshine, they came face to face. The cobra knew only too well that the brave mongoose, 3 feet long, was a superb fighter, clever and aggressive. But the cobra, too, was a skillful and experienced fighter. He could move swiftly and strike with the speed of light. And the sacks behind his long, sharp fangs were full of deadly poison. It was to be a battle of champions.
Okay, dears, I think you have learned what we have discussed. You have got it very simple. Listen to it and you can follow it very easily. And thank you for watching. You don't forget to do the things and the notes and the word meanings. It is attached with this one. You can download that. Along with that, there may not be any problem. But if you want to comprehend, ensure your comprehension, you may download the Malayalam translation and you can hear it. But it may not be needed. If you feel like that, you can do that. Thank you again.